The date is Sunday, June 21st, 2015. Tomorrow is Monday, and this is my attempt at writing, filming, and editing a video all in one day so as to have something to showcase tomorrow at school and hopefully amuse Mike and Trish enough so that Trish is still laughing as she shakes her head and I can graduate. My original plan for this project was something similar to this. I would set up a camera in my room so as to showcase what a day in the life looks like at a point where most of my time was supposed to be dedicated to trying to get my shit together. I figured that while I was at it, this would be a great way to show Mike and Trish that my reasons for never doing homework have gone beyond plain laziness and were more to do with the fact that I was busy at least attempting to be productive in my own ways. See, I like to walk somewhere along the lines of either go hard or go home. Going hard at home, however, has always seemed to be a struggle for me, but nonetheless a cause I decided was worthy enough of persevering towards. It all started in moving to my newer, much bigger room, previously shared by my younger brother and sister, until the guest room became my brother's. At a certain point I realized the way I spent my time in my old room was nothing short of pathetic. It was a relatively small space, in the sense that any intentions to be productive were suffocated by my hypnotic draw to the computer screen and the compulsive instinct to scroll through an endless Facebook feed filled with posts from people I didn't give a shit about. Hours in a day were spent this way, and no matter how useless I felt by the time all energy was sucked out of me and I collapsed for the night on my bed, mind still buzzing from the screen, I simply couldn't break the cycle of unproductivity, at least not without changing something. In moving into my new room, I suddenly had the space to be. There was room for my drum set, and a fat-ass desk that would allow me to work relatively unhindered by the draw of the screen, and ever since I have been dedicated to figuring out how to be as productive as possible in this new environment. My original film would have highlighted the process of what that looks like as it played out in the sacred personal space that is my room. The motivational post-its I never glanced at more than once, the schedules and guidelines on how I should manage my time that I never followed, etc. Ideally, I thought, intermingling the shit I wanted to get done, in this case, figuring out how to be a functioning, productive human being in my own room, with something I was told I had to get done, in this case, this project, would simultaneously ensure I finished both. Lazy, with just the right amount of ingenious efficiency. Just the way I like it. Now, it's not like this project isn't an incredibly considerate blessing bestowed upon me by the graciousness of dearest Mike and Trish. God knows my inner artist only needed such an opportunity to pick up the pen, paper, and camera and put my creativity to work. Not to mention the project guidelines clearly stating, do whatever the hell you want to do, just the way I like it. No. The problem is that when presented to me in the form of an assignment, I suddenly find it difficult to figure out just what it is I really want to do. I mean, if we're gonna get real here, there's so much shit I want to do, with homework being last on the list. Although somewhere in me I truly do want to do it. And if not for me, then for Mike and Trish, or my mom. But you gotta understand, there's a world out there that needs saving for God's sake, and I'm not gonna fulfill my part in that great mission by taking the conventional homework path. I have ideas that are calling on my precious personal time and dedication to perfect to the point where they can change the world. And aha! Suddenly, a much more potent idea came to my mind. I'll make a video about how to save the world. I mean, to be quite honest, there's not much else I spend my time thinking about, and what better way to do so than use this assignment to make a video that I could later post on YouTube to even go viral and get millions of kids excited about saving the world and watch as this happens right before my eyes. If the choice was between going hard or going home, I was simply gonna have to go hard on this one. I've gone home and not done shit with myself far too many times to present Mike and Trish with another absent or mediocre project, and if homework was getting in the way of me getting my room clean enough for me to be able to save the world, then this was the perfect chance to do it all in one go. There simply was no time for anything less. Although my time until the due date was limited, I was prepared to spit some real shit and break down how each one of us holds the power within us to save the world by firstly saving ourselves. To complement my words of wisdom, I would showcase flashes of all the life and beauty that our Mother Earth holds hidden in every corner of her being. All the pretty people, places, and things that, while we might take for granted, are more than worthy of her admiration and revolutionary efforts. But even then, after just a few days of filming, I started to doubt my abilities to complete this big project I was dreaming of, and I suddenly decided to abandon this new project and sell it for something else. See, when I was working on my TEDx talk about transcending cultural barriers to save the world, in last-minute fashion, as always necessary, I had at a certain point totally fried my mind silly from draft after draft of obsessing over presenting my idea in the perfect combination of words and sentences. But what would end up happening is that I would go so hard that I would get stuck. entranced by my relentless will to customize paragraphs into perfection up until the point where I lost touch with what it is I was essentially trying to say. I ended up writing the TEDx team email after email, promising the draft they had asked for would be turned in just later than expected, all the way up until the day of the presentation. They didn't get shit. I was not about to give them no half-assed draft. I was gonna go hard or go home. But going hard is hard. And see, it's not that I don't put effort into these things, Mike and Trish. When you guys look at me and ask me if my projects are on the way, with eyes that sometimes smile but are really dying inside and a lack of comfort deciding whether or not you should believe me when I tell you that they are coming, I really do know these projects are coming. I just don't know if they'll make it on time for you guys to receive them. See, I still want to and still will create a viral video on how to save the world, but it seems it just won't happen in the ways I might need it to as long as you're asking for it. And I wish I could do something to change that, because it's painful to work so hard while lacking the creative clarity and confidence to hand in a project as was planned and would be expected of a good boy. Despite my hours and hours of attempts at creating the perfect script, it seemed I was just going too hard for my own good. And as hopelessness to have this on time hovered over me, I suddenly received a burst of inspiration in remembering my experience with my TEDx talk. As the night before that big day came around the corner, and my lack of knowledge of how to make an awesome PowerPoint presentation was making me want to smash my head over the computer, I remember realizing the only way I could pull this off on time would be in drawing my own slides, little visuals to remind and re-inspire within me the ideas that would otherwise have been memorized along with the script that I didn't have. And remembering how I pulled this off, I was suddenly inspired with the perfect idea for this video project, whose due date was slowly getting closer than appeared. And so one sunny afternoon, while strolling through campus and casually thinking really profoundly about love and the natural laws it abides by in order to make our human reality what it is, I realized these visions I had in my head might be very helpful in allowing people to comprehend ideas such as that we all carry with us electromagnetic fields centered at our hearts, which we activate to our healthiest potential when in love, and through that vibrationally alter our environments, as well as concepts such as how love is within, and can only ever be truly experienced firstly through the self. Although the essential gist of this lovely truth, I believed, if conveyed properly, could help save the world, by the nature of the ways I like going hard, I decided it would be beneficial to add some context and go into the history of existence in time and space to set the tone. And having my dad buy me a whiteboard so that I could draw a sort of animated video, shot by shot, to support my narrations, my project's due date was suddenly here. And I hadn't even finished my script, yet alone started drawing. And so Mike and Trish gave me an extension, and another, and another. As this weekend came along, bringing with it more hope to get down the perfect script, action-packed with a guided self-love meditation by yours truly, I honestly thought that this was the video I was going to be making, all the way up until last night, when I realized I had a scholarship essay I had to finish this morning, which was actually supposed to have been due Friday. Again, the reason this essay was late was not because I hadn't started it, but because I was going way too hard, as I so often tend to, getting lost in the maze of the perfect story. It was here that I came to terms with the fact that this wasn't going to happen the way I would have hoped it could. The world needs love, that's for sure, but I need to get this project in on Monday too. If you think this is exhausting, I just want to let you know that I have virtual piles of almost complete assignments, from zines to this I believe that I'd attempted to go too hard on, but couldn't find the right time, space, and satisfaction necessary to turn it in, which leads me into this position I find myself in today, back here at home. The problem is not that I don't want to do anything, it's that there's just too much I want to do, and it's nobody's fault but my own. Every time I attempt to get started on something that's supposed to be important, I just end up getting bored and anxious as I find myself surrendering to the next more fulfilling task. I have notebooks filled with half-finished poems, shelves with half-finished books, and so much collected material from the past 2 years of enlightening assignments that I cannot wait to put into motion when I finally get the timeless space to do so, and I say that with confidence that although in the structure of schooling my life has more or less revolved around, I might seem dysfunctional and hopeless to ever complete anything on time, I will change the world. And learn before I speak so I can teach the truth of love without a shred of self-doubt, to inspire the trust and expression necessary for one to aim for his future with all that he has, even if others might not quite see the bigger picture he holds deep within his highest knowing. But today, it's Sunday, June 21st, 2015. It's Father's Day today, and also the longest day of the year, but besides this last week of school coming up ahead of me with the crushing stress of my final project, along with everything else I put off until this very last second that's nibbling at my ass, all that exists for now is this moment. And although I came with great ambitions to go hard on this project, I find myself back where I started in the first place, home. But I think I'm learning to go hard at home. I mean, I can go hard away from home, that's for sure, and I think that's important. We all could use a break every now and then, like some careless time outside with friends or a nice meditation, something to ease the mind and make room for flow. This is what productivity feels like. To me, it's something holistic. My version of progress is not confined by expectations, structures, or deadlines, but it always takes me where it feels good, even if the world's trying to make me feel bad for it, and I've had to learn to trust in that. With this video due tomorrow and a bunch of other shit in my life that I'm sure needs to get done, if anything, I hope this brings forth from my teachers and parents some disclosure or understanding. Although it sometimes gets hard to go hard, I feel so blessed to have been given the space to do me in the ways that I do, and so what better way to honor these efforts than showcase this project as an honest reflection of my thoughts and feelings at this final moment of impact. This is me. Thank you for all you have done to support me in my visions. Because of you guys, I find myself here today doing what I've always done best. Whatever the hell I want to do. Just know that this time it's dedicated to you.